You know those days, right? Or maybe it's one of those weeks where you're just positive the universe has it out for you. Like you're the main character in some cosmic prank show you never ever signed up for.
This is the classic example, isn't it? You're at the grocery store. You've done the mental gymnastics, you've calculated the items per cart, you pick what is obviously the fastest line, and boom, it just stops. Meanwhile, the line you almost picked? Yeah, that one's flying. It's so frustrating, and we just kind of sigh and chalk it up to bad luck, but what if it's not? What if it's something more?
And that really gets to the heart of a huge question, doesn't it? Is life just random? Are we all just pinballs bouncing around in this big, chaotic machine? Or is there maybe some kind of hidden logic to it all? Something we're just not quite seeing? Well, the ancient Stoics had a pretty powerful take on this, like thousands of years ago. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote this exact line. His point was that the things that happen to us, they're not mistakes, they're not random. They happen to us because in some way, they're for us. They're these custom-tailored experiences designed for our own growth. I mean, that idea just completely turns the whole concept of bad luck upside down, right? So if we run with that Stoic idea, it opens up this really kind of radical way of looking at things. What if life isn't just a bunch of random accidents? What if it's more like a language, a symbolic language that's always constantly speaking to us? So this really boils down to a fundamental choice in perspective. You've got two columns here. On one side, you have chaos. That's the world of random events where life just happens to you. And when you're in that mindset, it's easy to feel like a victim. But on the other side, you've got cosmos. This is a universe with order, with a purposeful design. Here, life happens for you. And that turns you from a victim into a student. And if you start leaning into that cosmos view, well, suddenly everything, even that painfully slow checkout line, might actually be a message.
Okay, so if we're going to learn this language, we first have to understand what a symbol even is. And the word itself is a huge clue. It comes from the Greek words meaning to throw together. Think about it. A symbol is a concrete thing, like a white dove, that's thrown into our physical world, but it's still connected to a bigger, abstract idea, like peace. So in this way of thinking, the universe is literally throwing these symbols at us to communicate these higher ideas. Now, life is sending us these subtle symbols all the time. But let's be honest, sometimes we're not paying attention. And that's when life needs to get a little louder, a little more dramatic. And that's where this amazing concept of synchronicity comes in. So think of it like this. Most of the time, life is just whispering. It's a passing comment you overhear, a bird that lands on your windowsill right when you're thinking of something, just a gut feeling. These are the subtle symbols. And if you're tuned in, you can pick up on a lot.
But what happens when we're not listening, when we're too busy, too distracted, or, let's face it, just too stubborn? Well, that's when life stops whispering. It walks right up to you, grabs you by the shoulders, and shouts. That impossible to ignore in-your-face message, that is what we call a synchronicity. The famous psychologist Carl Jung actually coined the term for this. He called it a meaningful coincidence. It's when two, or maybe even more, things happen that have no logical cause and effect connection, but their meaning is so deeply connected that you just know deep down it can't be random chance. It's like the universe cranked up the volume and is sending you a message in full surround sound. Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how do we actually do it? If life is sending us messages, how do we learn to read them? How do we start tuning in? Well, turns out there are a few key patterns to look out for. Let's walk through 4 of the big ones. First up, repetitive events. Yeah, like that checkout line again, or maybe finding yourself with this same kind of difficult boss, job after job. It's almost like life is making you retake a class. You're going to get the same test over and over until you finally pass. Number 2, the people you attract. Ever notice a pattern in the friends or partners you draw into your life? A lot of the time, they're acting like mirrors, reflecting something back at you that you really need to see. Third, closed doors. Oh man, we've all been there. The job you really wanted but didn't get, the relationship that fell apart. It feels awful at the time. But how often do you look back and realize, wow, that was actually a blessing. It wasn't a failure, it was a course correction. And finally, number 4, words at just the right time. When a line in a book, or a song on the radio, or even a comment from a total stranger just hits you with the exact message you needed to hear in that moment. That's a classic. Okay, But now we need to talk about something really, really important, a big warning label. Because as powerful as this worldview is, it comes with a huge risk. And that's what I call the fantasy trap.
So check out this story. It's a perfect example. There was a student who'd been looking for work for ages. He finally gets a really good job offer, but he turns it down. And when asked why, he says, "Well, I saw a bunch of yellow butterflies and they're a symbol of freedom, so I knew it was a sign that I shouldn't take the job and be tied down." I mean, on the surface, that sounds pretty deep, right?
Yeah, except the person he was telling this to had just one word pop into their head: lazy. See what was happening? The student wasn't interpreting a profound sign from the cosmos. Nope. He was using a sign to create a fantasy that justified his own weakness, in this case, his fear of taking on real responsibility.
So how do we avoid falling for that ourselves? This is the key. You have to ask yourself, where is this sign pointing me? Does it point toward comfort, laziness, and avoiding what I'm scared of? That's the fantasy trap. A true symbol, a real message from life, always, and I mean always, points you toward growth. It challenges you. It pushes you to be better, to be stronger, to be more responsible. A genuine sign will never, ever give you a free pass to take the easy way out. And once you can tell the difference, once you can separate the real symbols from the fantasy, everything changes. Seriously. You stop being just a passive observer of your life, and you become an active participant in this huge, ongoing dialogue with reality.
And this, right here, is the biggest takeaway of all. Life isn't just happening to you. It's not a monologue. It's a conversation. It's constantly sending you stuff, experiences, symbols, those big shouting synchronicities. But a conversation takes two, right? So the really critical question becomes, are you listening? And just as important, are you responding?
Oh, I absolutely love this quote. It just captures the whole idea so beautifully. The universe isn't cold and indifferent. It's actively, passionately rooting for you. It's like every single thing that happens, every challenge, every symbol, is part of this huge cosmic cheerleading squad just yelling, "Evolve, evolve." So you see, maybe it's not all just a series of random cosmic jokes. Maybe, just maybe, life is an intelligent force that is actively conspiring in our favor. And the first step is really simple. It's just to trust it a little, to give it the benefit of the doubt that there's a purpose. And the next step, well, that's to start learning the language. And so that brings us to the final question. And this one's just for you. If you take a second to really think about it, if you look at the patterns in your own life, the repeating challenges, the doors that have closed, all those weird little coincidences, what do you think life is trying to tell you?